Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you all. Today we are having the webinar from the Agriculture Cost Management Board. The topic is on social costs and benefits in agriculture in connection with climate change and related issues. And the keynote speaker is respected Dr. T.N. Prakash Kamardi sir. But before starting the program, we want to pay our homage to one of the pillars of the Agriculture Cost Management Board, CMA Dr. Srihari Chhawa sir, who left us for heavenly abode, and we are really shocked by his sudden and untimely demise. Sir was the strong inspiration behind all our activities of the board. We want to keep 1 minute silence in memory for the departed soul. Please.
तमसो महाज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मृतं
सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मामृतं गमय असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मामृतं गमय ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति।
So, with this anthem of our institute, now we come back to the main program. Now I request to my chairman of the Agriculture Cost Management Board, CMA Chittaranjan Chattopadhyay sir, to welcome all the members and to deliver his welcome address. Over to you, sir, please.
বললো বলে ফেলে গেল। নমস্কার, my very respected distinguished participants, our esteemed speaker. This is a great day, although we are having our profession by the sad demise of Dr. CMA Srihari Shaba. But in his departed soul, in the memory of his departed soul, we are having our first webinar today in this particular year. I just want to keep it on record the gratitude to my council to give me this opportunity serving as the chairman of the Agricultural Cost Management Board. On behalf of the Agricultural Cost Management Board of the Institute of Cost Accounts of India, ICMA, I warmly welcome you to today's program on social cost and benefits in agriculture in connection with climate change and related issues. We are honored to have a very esteemed speaker in this field who will share insights and experience on this critical topic impacting our nation's food security, rural livelihoods, and environmental sustainability. And we'll be all deliberating on the vital issues on social cost and benefits in agriculture and amidst climate change. As cost accountants and management accountants, we recognize the significance of factoring in environmental and social cost in agricultural decision making. Our objective is to analyze social cost and benefits in agriculture related to climate changes, explore strategies for climate resilient agriculture, discuss policy implications and recommendations. And our key areas of focus will be climate smart agricultural practices, water management and conservation, soil health and biodiversity, supply chain resilience. And I'm sure over the next 1.5 hours, we will engage in thought-provoking presentations from our very esteemed speaker, who is one of the doyen in agricultural engineering and agricultural, sector. So I really welcome you all, and I thank you all for being here with us. And let's work together to create a sustainable and climate resilient agricultural sector for our country, because our country is beautiful and agriculture is one of the main strength of the the country. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now, in absentia of our President, sir, and Vice President, sir, I just want, as they are very much preoccupied, so I want to make a brief about today's speaker. Our speaker, such a distinguished person, it's my pleasure to introduce you with the audience. He was a professor and head Department of Agricultural Economics, University of Agricultural Sciences, Bangalore, with a career of 30 years involved in teaching, research, guiding PG students and extensions in the field of agricultural, natural resources, environmental economics, marketing, price analysis, international trade, sustainable organic agriculture, biodiversity, traditional knowledge and indigenous technologies, and providing academic advocacy, empirical inputs, and technical consultancy to policymakers, industry, NGO, farmers, and others. He was a chairman, Minister of State rank for Karnataka Agricultural Pricing Commission, Government of Karnataka, for 5 years, as an advisory on the matters related to remunerative prices and stable markets to farmers' produces, so as to get them stable and predictable income. The KAPC, Karnataka Agricultural Prices Commission, conducted research, policy studies, workshops, meetings, and submitted reports with crucial recommendations. Delighted to have a speaker like him, because we strongly believe that sir's insight will give us the needed input to go ahead with the activities of the board. So, sir, we are very much delighted. Now it is over to you. You may please start your deliberations. Please, sir.
Thanks, Smita ji. Respected Chattopadhyay ji, all the members of Agriculture Cost Management Board, my good friend Kaushik, with whom I could have this opportunity to be with this wonderful most crucial, I can say, technically most crucial, the government body, CMA, within which you are focusing on agriculture. I was chairing one of the important commission, only commission in the entire country to have at the state level. You have the Commission for Cost and Agriculture at the national level. At the state government is the only one. I used to focus more on the cost rather than the return. So while focusing on cost, I used to take a little philosophical stand. What is the cost of producing 1 quintal of paddy, 1 quintal of wheat, whatever it may be? I used to say it is not mere mechanical material cost towards fertilizer, seed, or some other inputs. It is the sacrifice made by our Annadata farmers in supplying most crucial, essential item for us. It is a sacrifice, both physical as well as the emotional sacrifice. That's how I look at the cost. You're also dealing with the same thing in a different context. You're also getting into the agriculture. So it's good, wonderful to have this agriculture cost management body and to make a presentation on something which appear to be not yet given full attention, strangely so far, and it's the time to give attention. That is the timeliness of you are arranging this one. This is social cost and benefit. No, we look at the private cost, what the farmers possibly incur and get it, but it is a much more than that. What the society by and large get, in my opinion, social dimension of any production is the much more crucial at this point of time. If you look at something in the climate, it is very important. Let me confess before getting into the subject, it is sheer exploration. I don't think I have everything in me with the solution and explanation and the empirical result to place most learned body. Rather, it itself is a challenging for me. So let me make myself very comfortable, clear by saying that I am putting something with the hope that you will also respond. We together take it forward. So it's only for the exploration of the very crucial issue of the social cost and benefit. To be frank with you, I'm not feeling well. This part of, I don't know, this part wherever you are in your place, what is happening, but it's raining very heavily, very bad temperature, and it's unimaginable how the temperature has changed, and I'm suffering from the viral, and most of the Bengalians are suffering from the viral disease, viral fever. I'm just recovering. Our farmers are undergoing unprecedented, climatic catastrophe. So the climate change is not somewhere else. It is very much in this. We are all feeling at a very personal level. With that personal note, let you please come to the next one. Let me make next, please. Please move to the next slide. Okay. Let me come to you may be aware, because every day in the radio, newspaper, TV channel, climate change, you have been speaking. And what it is, after all, we had a commitment, world together, joined in Paris in 2016, and we have committed. That commitment is very much on the screen. What it is, we make an effort to see that global temperature is also called as the global mean near surface temperature, not somewhere else. Near surface temperature should not rise. The globe becoming warmer and warmer and warmer, it should not cross 2 degrees Celsius at the average global level. To limit it to the 1.5% and see that the world bodies, nation states, government, citizens are all convinced. Pursue, see that goal. See that we are becoming much more warmer. So see that global mean surface near surface temperature is kept cool. It's when it has happened, it's almost 2016 ke matlab kitna, so very long back. But where are you now? You may be surprised, you may be shocked to say that year 2023, just the year we have crossed, was the warmest year as far as the data recorded in 174 years. In 174 years, 2023 is the warmest year. Our aim is to see that global temperature won't cross an addition of the 1.5%. The last year temperature rise was the plus 1.2. We are almost near to the situation where we trying hard to avoid. The decade which we have crossed, the decade 2013 to 2023 is the most bad in the sense climate related parameters. One is the greenhouse gases that creates an atmosphere, reason for the global warming, and see that temperature rises. Greenhouse gas emission is the highest in the preceding decade. The mean temperature rise is also very high, and all these effects, you know very well, the Antarctic is getting melted, is going to melt, and the water will get into the sea. Sea rise will increase, sea level will increases. In all these three parameters in the last decade, it was the most highest. So I think it is very scary. It is very really something which the whole mankind put together. Think it is a grave cause for concerns. Unfortunately, my subject in agriculture is unreasonably kept as something sort of a villain in the context of the climate change. Of course, agriculture at the world level, if you look at one of the major polluting sector, of the methane, the one of the greenhouse gas. In India, last year figure, the recent year figure is very much is there. Of the total greenhouse gas emission, which is supposed to increase the mean surface temperature, the agriculture contribution is almost 14%, as against the average of the world average of 12%. What the figure I'm using the India figure. So it's very painful for me to accept that, two things. Agriculture is the biggest polluters. Agriculture is the biggest cause for the greenhouse gas emission and also climate changes. These two things are difficult for me to accept. In this context, I thought we cannot turn around the whole situation of agriculture. Rather than making agriculture as a polluter, we cannot think of agriculture being a conservative in sector which could take the responsibility of conserving things, cooling the earth in terms of various technical aspects, that I'm going to present. So I'm sorry. The purpose of my talk to see here this agriculture should not be looked only as a polluting cause for the greenhouse gas emission, and also take the responsibility of cooling the earth by conserving the atmospheric pollutions, and also taking into its what is called as a sequestration. The carbon dioxide equivalent pollutant is the main cause for the global warming and the all other catastrophes. We cannot agriculture take that role of the role of from being blamed as the cause for concern, an excellent source for the solutions also. So for which we need beyond obvious solutions. We have to think little outside the normal parameters of which normally we think, and we take it. It's an opportunity not only for the farmers and all stakeholders, including those who are in the industry. My good friend Kaushik told me, there are several members who are from the background of the entrepreneurs, and also many members are from the agriculture inputs industries. And for them, instead of being blamed as you are the one cause for the pollutions and cause for the global climate change, you can also play the role of other way to see that, to help the entire globe. This is the background with which, let me place some conceptual issues which may appear to be a bit technical, for which, you should, you must kindly excuse me, because my background is from the academic. That's why, I make little more technical, little more theoretical, and let me see that, at the end, we can come to some conclusion to see that, how to move forward. Next, please. So this is, social cost and benefit is not new, because, you know very well how to deal with this one. We normally deal with the private cost for agriculture. What is the private cost? Seed, fertilizers, agrochemicals, wage are the private cost. And we are also having some social cost also. That's what I just mentioned about the agrochemicals. And agrochemicals is going to contaminate the surrounding atmosphere. It pollutes the water. It contaminates the food. So what are the measured effect? Sheer contamination is not the social cost. The measured effect of the pollutions on human welfare, on economy, how much cost it's going to put on us. For example, because of the bad food, if I feel ill, then what is the cost of that, and how much cost? How much is the medicine charge? How much is the labor lost because of the illness? Is the total cost of the pesticide use? There's a environmental cost. So you have the both. Unfortunately, so far we have been discussing more on the environmental cost. This whole book, I did my study from the University College London on precisely on the subject of environmental economics. This is called as the unwelcome harvest. In 1993, this whole book is about how pesticide, how the fertilizer is going to create problem on the surrounding environment and water, soil, health, everything. So it is ample literatures are there to see that agriculture is also a big pollutant. But if you come to the social benefit, of course, social benefit is very much known to all of us. One of the benefit is the food itself is something which is something which farmers gives us, and in turn farmers get benefits. There is I can call it as a benefit also occur to the farmer. But what is the social benefit of farming? That's most crucial. It is forgotten. It is, I don't say it is forgotten. It is not given the emphasis to the extent which it actually deserves. And this is a time to focus more on this one. What is the social benefit of farming? Farming as itself is a biological sector, Farming provides a most conservation effect of the soil and water and biodiversity. Unless farming, world would have been the desert for long back. You take care of the soil, you put manure, you put the surface green coverage. So soil and water conservation is the most crucial aspect, farming is supposed to do, is doing that one. And the conservation of the biodiversity, you have the species, you have the land races, you have the unique varieties of the different crops, you conserve that one. These are known to mankind from the day which we started farming. But what is unknown, not adequately focused, is on carbon sequestration or fixing. It's called as the fixing capacity of the agriculture land. So I think there may be several science graduate, botany graduate. So photosynthesis, greenery is nothing but the photosynthesis with which, each and every plant, it may be tree, it may be herb, it may be shrub, it may be small crop, which takes the carbon dioxide, synthesis is its own food. It is the most basic fundamental biophysical reactions of the crop with which, it takes the carbon dioxide. And that itself is a solution. What is the global warming? Too much emission of the carbon dioxide or something equal to the carbon dioxide. Here is something, which takes that, just like what is called Vishakanta. Lord Shiva takes the poison and keeps that, plant or something like that one. So this service is most important. And also, if you just getting into the countryside, if you get into some plantation, I am from the Western Ghat region, wonderful tea plantation, coffee plantation, arecanut plantation. It gives the amenity, it gives the eco service, everything put together, is an ideal cropping. because of the reason best known to all of us, we are in the process of the green revolution, using more of pesticide, more of produce more and more and more. We need it for that, no doubt. But in our anxiety to address the issue of the hunger and food scarcity, produce more and more and more, we have pushed the agriculture to that side, most of the polluter rather than the conservators. So now it's a time, it's a right context to get into the agriculture, looking at agriculture as a real, in terms of its social values. Agriculture also provides several cultural values, religious values. I'm sorry, look at, I'm yet to recover from the fever I'm going through there, so kindly excuse me for somewhat the disturbance, I'm placing you. Next, please. So this is one study. You may find it little difficult to understand. What you can say, I have just mentioned about the bad effect of agriculture. Here is the case, cabbage and grapes. I don't, being agriculture scientist, I recommend, don't use the most of the cauliflower, cabbage. It uses the pesticide 2 times more than what we have recommended, because it has to be grown well, it has to be protected against pest and diseases. So this is the bad thing happened. It has been recorded very well. Cabbage and grapes, both, which consumes huge pesticides, huge fertilizers. As a result, there are 2 things. You come to the next one. It's going to summarize. Next, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, here it is. Though cabbage and the grapes gives a good yield, and we all consume, but farmers also make a good profit. What is the profit? It is a bit quite old study. Farmers' private benefit, in case of cabbage, for every 1 rupee they invest, they get back 2 rupees. The private benefit cost ratio is very much here. So is the case of grape. For every, it's 103%, 106% is a good return for the farmers. But what is happening? In our anxiety, I have mentioned in the previous how much is the pesticide used, how much is the fertilizer used, how much is the other agrochemicals have been used. As a result, there are 2 types, 3 types of social cost, environmental cost. Bad thing happens. One is on the consumers. It's recorded in the indirect measures. Other are the workers, who uses the pesticide, and also something on the soil, something on the water. Put all together in the environmental economics parlance, it is called as the negative externality, external effect to the society and surrounding atmosphere. This is huge. This is huge. If you quantify all these effects, the negative cost of agrochemicals is very huge. You come to the next one, you will see how much it is. You please come to the next one. Look at here. So for every 1 rupees, if the farmer realizes 2 rupees 40 paisa, the social cost, including the farmer's cost and everything, is a 3 rupees 84 paisa. So, and so is the case of the grapes. It is something like that, You see the social benefit cost ratio. In the earlier case, you will have the, for every 1 rupees investment, farmers get 1 rupees, more than 1 rupees. For every rupees you invest on the cabbage, the society gets less than that. How much? It is 0.63 paisa. So 27 paisa is the loss. Social loss, social cost. It is slightly higher in case of grapes, but it's much lower than what the farmers get. This is how we quantify. I'm just presenting this one, how we can quantify and place before the decision-making body and also society to prove that what are the good and bad of agriculture. But this is not important for me. What is important? Agriculture goodness, the social benefit of farming, for which, as I said, our studies, our empirical effort should be not yet done to the extent which is expected. But I have some result to prove agriculture is a much more beneficial sector rather than the one which, from the society point of view, which emits the cost. Please mind, if you get into the agriculture in that conventional sense, if you get into the agriculture in terms of the ecological services, biodiversity conservation, you don't have all these costs at all. These costs, because of the green revolution, high chemical intensive. If you get into the type of agriculture I'm going to present very soon, called as the organic agriculture or carbon farming, conserving the carbon and see that you will give the good air to the world. So that is called the sustainable agriculture. All these costs will vanish. That is the opportunity for all of us. We have to deal with in a different way. You come to the next slide, please. This is from my area. I am from the plantation sectors. It's the one example for the areca nut. And also you can just look at the coffee. If you have traveled either in the Western Ghat, in the Karnataka and the Kerala, you will see ours is the shade coffee. Shade in the sense you will have the robust plantation sector within the forest area. As a result, you are growing not only coffee, you can also consider the trees. Similarly, case of the areca nut. Look at in 1 acre of areca nut, you will have areca nut tree, 557 areca nut trees are there. Along with that, you will have forest trees also there. In our typical house, household in the Western Ghat regions, in the coastal region, in our region called as the Malnad region, farming, agriculture, house, everything is together in the called as it's not a mere. It is a household. It's a homestead. So put together, so much of the trees, so much of the greenery. And look at how much is the each acre of the areca nut has been sequestering, fixing, taking inside the system up to the extent of almost 100 tons. 100 tons of the carbon has been taken into the system, absorbed, sequestered by 1 acre of the areca nut. To make it a little more clear, you may be having a car. Okay, let us say I don't think in India, in most of the upper middle class have the car. If you run on an average normal kilometers, the average emission of the carbon dioxide one car in year is around 4 to 5 tons. That if you run every day, go to the office and here and there, the normal, it's the average figure, rough figure. So that means you are emitting to the extent of 4 to 5 tons every year if you owner of the car. On the other hand, if you are the owner of areca nut, if you grow areca nut, you are sequestering 100 ton. You are taking the you are taking the pollutant of 5 means 20 car owners in 1 acre. This is the importance of that one, And this carbon service also at the global level has got some value, not a big value. The last figure I can give 46,478 from areca nut garden, because you will have the trees in the areca nut itself is a tree. Areca nut is a supari. Home gardens also you can have in and around the house. You have the home garden. You will have some tree systems. You will have this like that. It is valued each ton. During that time it is a bit quite old study. During 2013-14, each ton of the carbon. World has given a very small figure of around $30 per ton, I think. If you convert that into it comes to the 1 lakh rupees. It's a good one, but 1 lakh rupees is the value, just value. No one has given that ton if you value that ton, but it is not in 1 year. It is in the whole of the life cycle of nearly 20 to 30 years. Each year it may come to the 4 to 5 tons. So 1 acre areca nut, 1 acre coffee, 1 acre plantation, you will see that you will reduce the pollutant by at least each year by 1 car. Similarly, you can look at it just to see the some understanding of how in agriculture plays a crucial role. Next, please. So, unlike in the cabbage, here you will have the social net benefit is much more than the private net benefit. The private net benefit is 1.21 to 1.24, whereas the social benefit is 1.26. Is much more than you will have that one, to see that social benefit exceeds the social cost in case of agriculture activities where you take the conservative agriculture, agriculture which takes into the many various aspects of the pollutions and avoids pollution. So this is the very important, So my focus is more on this aspect, not that aspect, because we can go away with plant chemicals or reduce it or get into some sustainable one. Definitely we can focus on this one. Please come to the next one. It is not the case of the plantation sector. Come to the next one, please. Each and every hectare agriculture anywhere in the world, it may be more in case of a tropical country like us, within the soil itself, it takes the farming. It conserves, it takes the pollutants, it takes the carbon dioxide. These are some figures, worked out some in the different sources, and FAO in 2007, I think, has come out with a detailed report. As for this one, you will have it's below ground. What the figure I have given is above ground. Soil, if you maintain very well with the compost, with the what is called with compost, with the green manure, not the pesticide, the fertilizer, you will see that the organic carbon content of the soil going to be increased. That is why, recent, you may be aware, you may be surprised to see that recent conventions of party. So I think once in 2 or 3 years, the world body meets at a place to see how best we can reduce the global warming effects. So this recent one has said, focus should be more on conserving the carbon within the soil undertaken by the agriculture. So they have given 1000 to 4, something like, for every year, carbon content in the soil should be increased. You may be surprised. What is the carbon content? Humus. We refer to soil fertility. What is soil fertility? Is basically humus. Humus is nothing but a conserved form. It is a sequestered form taken into inside form of the carbon. That means in itself is, if increasing the form, the soil fertility means increase the intensity of the soil to take. So the world body has given the call to see that, soil carbon content has to be increased. This is the opportunity for all of us, for not only for farmers and also for the entrepreneurs and also for the industries. Polluting industries also is important. I will come to that one. Similarly, on an average, there is a possibility of 1 ton of carbon to be conserved in 1 hectare. If you take up in agriculture, not an ordinary agriculture, carefully, a sustainable agriculture, every year, if you have the 2 cars, 1 cars, 3 cars, similarly, you can plan, see that, you can not only emitting. Nowadays, younger generations are very cautious about the greenhouse emissions. They think very seriously, see that, what is that going to happen? How best we can do? They are getting into the type of the vegan type of food habits. And my advice, get into the agriculture, help the farming, or you undertake yourself, then see that, whatever they emit, whatever the greenhouse gas you have the guilty of emitting, you can do it other way. So here's the possibilities. So even world has got the huge degraded land. If you get back degraded land into the farming, again you can conserve to the extent of 1.5 ton every. This appears to be a bit technical one, but to mitigate the climate change problem, farming, looking farming as what is that, the carbon farming. And a different farming is a huge opportunity, not only to the farmers and also to the others. These are just about the below ground. More than this is the above ground. I have already mentioned. Come to the next one, please. The above ground is the tree farming. If you undertake 1 tree, it has the huge capacity. All this, summarized in how best, you can have 1 hectares of the tree has got the immense capacity to conserve. That's why, one of the big solution, most possible solution, achievable solution is to bring more and more and more area under the afforestation. Stop deforestation. Bring more area. 1 hectare, 2013 tons of cow. All these are appear to be figures. In this background, FAO has given very optimistic figures. There's a possibility for the Asian region because we are blamed as not in a position to take care because we have to pollute for some time. We have to use more of the fertilizer to, but in the same time we can also have the opportunity to conserve. So 700 million tons of carbon dioxide can be conserved if the Asian agriculture because undertake a proper conservation effect. And somebody has given a very fancy picture. I don't know this whether it's this Junior or not. When to the website, somebody has given in our 170 million hectares of agricultural land in India. Every year we can fix the carbon up to the extra 3 to 8 billion tons. I'm afraid whether it's true or not, but there should be some. There is no reason for someone to give the wrong picture, but maybe some more exploitation. How much it cost? 6.30 lakh crores of rupees. Unfortunately, nobody is going to value. Nobody has thought of what's the real value of the carbon fixation service. We have the service value for the service. The service sectors has been emerging, overtaking the agriculture and industry. This is a service. Not the IT is a service, not the medical service is a service, not the other service. It's a service, service rendered. This is ecological services, huge benefit. Only thing, it looks little unimaginable for a time being because we are not focused on. But what I can say, the substantial financial possibilities in a genuine way, if you get into agriculture as something, to help at this crucial point of time. Come to the next one, please. So India has taken a decisive steps. India has committed to reduce our green, because India is the third largest after China and USA. I think 16% is the world, because we are having the huge, in Bengaluru alone, you are having the more number of cars than the people. If there is a rain, our roads won't become wet because you have the car. Somebody has made, if you throw some stone, either it will fall on the tech head because it is IT land and are on the car. So we have the more cars, more and more automobiles. So that's why we have committed to reduce 45% emission. What was the level in the 2016 when we signed the Paris Agreement? By 2030, it's not a far off, and getting into the net zero by 2017. Net zero means whatever we emit, the conservation should match it. So net zero at the end of the year, end of the day, there should be net. So it's a commitment made by that one. In line with, we have changed the Energy Conservation Act, giving what I have just mentioned to give the status of agriculture as a carbon sink. Agriculture is not merely something which produces food. Carbon sink. The carbon is going to be just like in Vishakanta. The carbon credit trading last year, we have introduced that's what I am coming to that. It should be very interesting, but we don't have much information at this point of time. Carbon trading, just like you are trading goods and services and even the financial market, you trade the share, you can have the trading of the carbon. 1 unit of carbon is the 1 ton. 1 unit of carbon to 1 ton. So I'll come to the ton. But we have yet to work out the modalities, but it's the last year, 2013, carbon credit trading scheme was introduced by Government of India. Then the Bureau of Energy Efficiency has given the responsibility to work out the modalities. This year, I don't think they have yet come out of what are the modalities. And there is also another compulsion. Anything gets into the Europe, Europe has introduced a rigorous carbon border adjustment mechanism, rigorous law. If you didn't comply with the carbon emission standard, if your product is result of the too much of carbon emission, huge tax is there. So we are compelled to see that reduce either in the manufacturing or in the trading everywhere. So all this may put together an opportunity to see that a robust market, an opportunity market called the carbon trading scheme to evolve. It's a very dynamic trading systems. There may be permit. I'll come to that a little later. Or at the end of the day, you may to get more details. You have to seek more details about that one. So tradable permits, how it works, as I told, farmer is the one excellent source. You have an agreement with a farmer to see that a farmer growing either plantation or the tree or the sustainable agriculture conserve this much of the trade carbon. So there is a credit tied. Farmers want the money. Farmers want the support. Farmers cannot get into the trade of either their produce. They cannot sell their tomato. They are under the clutches of the middleman. How can they trade the carbon which they have conserved? So each hectare of the carbon is this much of the carbon stored. Someone can buy. And what is that one? It is for those industries, say in industries highly polluting, if they stop production, they will be under loss. So they have to comply with this much of the reduction. How they can do? You pollute here and buy from the farmer to see that, if you are polluting 5 ton, then you are buying 5 tons from the farmers. This is how the carbon trade in a very simple way supposed to work. It's much more complicated. It's also a tradable in the sense, if you are the owner of 1 tons of the carbon, you can trade it. If there is a demand is increases, just like, there's a chances it's already started operating, just like the share market, operates. Share market is nothing to do with actually, if there's an Infosys share, it's nothing to do with the performance Infosys or L&T or some other company. It's a speculative thing, it's a speculative thing also may operate, but I'm not so enthusiastic. I have to work as a real market rather than a speculative. But anyhow, the tradable permits has got the huge. I am not the more expert in that one. I think we have to seek the more information. I'm only placing the ample scope for all of us, especially for a body like CMA, to see that a new forms of the commodity has been produced, and this commodity has got a immense value, immense benefit to the not only for the producers at companies and also entire mankind. Come to the next slide, please. There are some challenges also. The challenge is, how to internalization. It needs to be little more standardized. If farmers say I have conserved 5 quintal, what is the unit of conservation? How to stay there? So internalization of the carbon sequestration and getting into the decision-making body is some challenging, but not impossible. In the modern days of the remote sensing, everything, you can see that how much of how rich that soil is. If there's a tree, easy you can say, if the tree of this much of girth, this much of the height, definitely you can say how much is its carbon sequestration value. So anyhow, some element of the quantification is required. Cost benefit analysis are required to trade it. I think your role is very immense. And most important thing, I don't know, hope you don't mistake me for making the statement. In all this endeavor, addressing the climate change, getting into sustainable agriculture, mitigating the impact, the market is the private sectors. Market is those who are dealing with the multinationals. Market is deal with the commodities. May not be the good solutions because market has got its own limitations. Sometimes many think, overplay of the market at the cost of the government, at the cost of society is a problem for all these things. We should accept that one. So to substantiate this, let me see that, World Bank report. This is the World Bank. Studying in UK, I have purchased. World Bank acknowledged this one in 1991. What is the year of 1991? It's got the Earth Summit. All international environmental agreement, including the Convention on Biodiversity, Convention on the Climate Change, have started from that historic global summit called the Global Earth Summit. In that time, World Bank supported all this endeavor and said that, says that to conserve the environment, to look into the natural world. It's a natural world, not the financial world, not the economic world. Private sectors, market may have the limited role. I don't say they can play any role, but the major role should be the government. So it is a government-driven related issues, carbon trading. In many cases, the industrial body themselves are become the cost and they cannot give the solutions, especially the trading bodies. They can getting into this whole market through what is called as the clean energies, solar energies, alternative energy. But at point of time, the industry is more of the unsustainable, emitting coal-related, petrol-limited. Entire automobile is hard. How much is the electrical engineer we are getting in? So in that case, government has to play the major role, especially dealing with the farmers on one hand, dealing with the climatic world, the natural world. So World Bank says it's a government role. And something distortions have taken place in the natural world. Take the case of the land market. While giving that one, what are the impact of the whole chemical agriculture is mainly on the land. Land degradation has taken place to the extent of 36%. Our agriculture land in India to the extent of 36% is completely become barren. But what is happening to the land price? Land price is skyrocketing. 1 crore rupees per acre, even it's a barren land. So if it were to be the other way around, if the land market is also sensitive, The whole card, the financial world is sensitive to the environmental happening. You should have given the less price, no price to the barren land. People are ready to get the land. So that's why this is only anecdote to say that, agriculture, anecdotal example to see that, market may not deal with. We need the help of the market, but the entire responsibility and stewardship should be on the government to government get in. I'll come to the what is called as the new emerging concept of the national income called the GNP, green GNP, which takes into account in GDP, you take into account of the sum total of the goods and services minus depreciation of the man-made capital. But here you have to take into account the depreciation of the natural capital also. How much the forest is cut, how much the mineral is extracted. Unfortunately, under the current GDP system, mineral extraction, forest destructions are added into the credit side. More you cut and sell, more is the GDP. It should be other way around. It should be at the debit side. That's the green GNP. If you look at the because you have to sensitize the whole world in terms of the economic parameters. Whole world is obsessed with the GDP, GNP, growth rate. You have to see that the GDP is a bad GDP. Kuwait is the number 2 or number 1 in terms of per capita income. How they can done? Extract the oil, send it. Extract the oil, send it. They should have the poorest country if the days to come. So this dimensional is attitudinal change at the macro level. Macroeconomy is more important. So our focus should be on the green GNP. Then, and last but not least, at the end, I have started to look at the agriculture scientist. I'm also a farmer. Agriculture is not merely something a sector provides the food. Agriculture has the multi-functional role I mentioned, starting from the food, carbon sequestration, amenity service to the water conservation, soil conservation, everything, we have to value agriculture land. If the land market were to be the eco-sensitive, you should value more for that land, which provides the more of the eco services. It's not the case. It's only real estate speculative purposes. So we can look at the multi-functionality role of agriculture and see that land value should have that reflection of all these things rather than this year its real estate value. So these are the challenges at the end, that the end with we are having the 3. You are next slide, please. So at the end, we should have at the macro level. If the time permits, if the opportunity permits, please place before the highest people in the decision-making body. It may be Nirmala Sitaramji or somebody else to see that, we should have to deal with the climate change in general and agriculture, the multifunctionality role of agriculture in particular, through the 3-pronged approach. Of course, conventional market-based approach should be there. Tax and subsidy. Tax to those who pollute and subsidy to, especially for organic farming. The farming systems are commodity which is having the inbuilt parameters, qualities of the conservation subsidies. But government intervention is a must. Command and control measure to see that rigorous standards are being imposed and limits harmful and promote. And above all, market and government, I don't think have been in a position to deal with the larger issue of the nature. It is the question of the unborn generation. It's not only just for me. What would happen to the unborn generation, future generation, and the non-human entities also? What is happening to the animals, human conflict, everything? It's something in a holistic effort. We need to have institutions. Institution may be much beyond the government rules and regulation, much beyond the theories and principles of what I'm telling, to see that, an element of fostering the culture of the sustainability. Culture in our culture should be to conserve, not pollute. And you have the stewardship responsibility not only for our children and also unborn children. So this in ethical dimension is very much important. While I am studying my environmental economics, the important subject was the environmental ethics. It has got some different dimension. So market, government, and the institutional framework, you should have the civil society, you should have the NGOs, you should have the people's movement, organization. They are caring more about that, put together government, market, and the civil society groups coming together, we can address the issue of climate change, and hope that 2014 or 2015 will not be the further hot and little more cooler. And with this, let me stop. I don't know how much time I have taken. I'll be very happy to interact, and I'll again end with this one. I have only raised certain issues and see that this most important learned body would also join hands, whatever the formal or informal way, and help the farmers particularly, and help ourselves and help the entire group. Thanks for this opportunity. I'll stop here. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I am so enlightened within this 40 minutes. I can't express. I hope all the viewers have also experienced the same thing, because from our costing community, we hardly social cost and benefit analysis we did. But the thing is, what you have explained, carbon farming, sustainable agriculture, and green GNP. Parent land is 36% in India. It is not known to us because we have never introspect in that way, sir. So multifunctional role of agriculture. Today only I have come to know so many functional activities are there. So it's awesome experience for me, sir. Awesome experience. I hope all the 64 attendees I have seen, all have, experienced such, gathered such ideas from your thought-provoking discussion, sir. It's our privilege that we got you despite your ill health. You have joined us. You have given such thought-provoking discussion you have delivered. So it's really, really nice, sir. What I can be said on behalf of the Agricultural Cost Management Board, I pay my sincere thanks to you, and
Thanks, madam.
we would
Thanks.
request you to give us your thought occasions in near future also, because such a knowledgeable person, at least for me, I have hardly seen in agricultural world. Thank you, sir. Thank you
Thanks, madam.
so much. Take care. Take care of your health, sir.
Sure. My availability for agriculture cost management is a open signed check. You can make use of any time in whatever the capacity, whatever the way you feel, so that
Yes, sir.
together we are helpful to the farmers. Again, I repeat, together we are helpful to the farmers in particular, and the mankind in. There's a onerous responsibility and opportunity is there on us. Let us do it
Thank
together,
you,
madam.
sir.
Thanks for all
Thank
the
you,
members
sir.
and
Thank
office.
you. And to the members, what I want to say that if you are having any queries, you may get in touch with us. It is agriculture@icmei.in is the mail ID where you can raise your mails and raise your voices. I will send it to our distinguished author. Agriculture@icmei.in. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. So I'm leaving, sir.
Okay, thanks, madam.